So, what brings you here to see me today?
Well, I recently started seeing a psychiatrist, not last week, and she said that it seemed that I had a lot of repressed trauma and just things I needed to get off my chest. So she recommended that I get a therapist appointment, and here we are.
Well, that's good. It's a good first step. Um, so, what has been really weighing on your mind recently?
Well, there's work. My job is very brutal. I do physical labor, so I go in. I'm told to do all this work, but for some reason, it just never seems like it's enough to them, and they're always yelling at me, always getting on my case about not working hard enough. And like I've tried to find other jobs, put in applications. I've looked, tried to put in for a promotion, but it just seems that no matter how hard I try, nobody's willing to give me that grace, that chance to prove myself. They just keep looking down on me. And aside from that, I've had a lot of depression lately, dealing with my brother's death. It occurred a few months ago, and no matter what, I just keep seeing him, keep thinking about him, and it's just gotten to the point where between not being able to function at work with all the work they're giving me, and then just breaking down in the middle of it, amongst other chores in life, it's just too much some days.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot. You're really dealing with a lot right now. I can understand why you've been feeling so stressed out, especially with the work. Why do you feel that they're not giving you a chance?
Honestly, I wish I knew. I kind of just have always been like this at my previous job. They went so far as to call me a drug addict. Said I would drink alcohol, coming hungover, but that I don't know. I've seen doctors about it, about my fatigue, my health issues, but they tell me that there's nothing wrong, and then just to be told that there's nothing wrong with me, that I'm normal, but then to get called a drug addict, get called lazy, get called all these names from my employers, something's definitely wrong, and I don't know. I just don't know what to do anymore. That's why I thought seeing a psychiatrist, maybe there's something mentally wrong with me. I don't know.
Well, yeah, it is normal for your psychological state to also affect your physiological state, and vice versa. Um, and so it sounds like you don't understand what's been going on, and it's been misinterpreted by others as a drug addiction when it's not. And I can understand why that would be really upsetting for you. It's no one likes being judged like that.
I mean, even just like I said, my brother passed away, and I went to go to his funeral, and the day after, I'm obviously distraught, distressed, and these guys, they thought I hit their car, and I didn't. And it was like a group of them, like 6, 8 guys, and they're all surrounding me while I'm trying to go to work, yelling things at me, calling me dangerous, saying that I looked high. I don't do drugs. I don't smoke. I was distraught from the proceedings of my brother's funeral, and these guys are doing the same thing that my employers are doing, just yelling slurs and insults at me. It's just this thing that's keep being reinforced, and I just don't know what to do about it.
How do you feel other people's perception and treatment of you has been affecting your view of yourself?
I mean, when everyone tells me that I'm not good enough, that I'm obviously like a drug addict, it makes me feel less because they wouldn't. There must be some reason that they're targeting me and picking me out for that. I mean, maybe I'm not up to standards. Maybe I really am struggling and not really as functioning and you know aware as I think I am. I mean, if everyone's saying it, it's not just like a one-time thing. There's got to be some kind of truth or merit to it, right?
Well, in the case of these people yelling at you, they were strangers. They don't know you. They don't know what your ability is, what you're capable of. They're just, making a snap judgment that doesn't necessarily say anything about you personally.
I guess that's fair. But I mean, how do you explain my past two jobs doing the same thing?
Well, I can't necessarily answer that question for them. I don't know them. Um, but a lot of times, people's the way people treat someone is impacted by biases, not necessarily anything personal. Did they ever give you any specific reason?
I mean, the only thing that they ever said was that, well, actually, yeah, my one boss said that. Like I said, they just say that I look it. And I remember vividly this one time we had to take a group picture for my last company because we were celebrating something or something. And the one boss kept yelling at me because I kept looking all stupid and like drugged out during the picture. And she kept making us retake it. Everyone kept getting mad at me. And I, I wasn't doing anything wrong. I was trying to take a normal picture. I was trying to look, respectable. And I have this her person telling me that I just look like some doped up drug addict. It really is just absurd how much they pinpoint on that. I was late to work the one time, and I was feeling really sick that day. I guess I had something bad to eat the night before. And I remember vividly too that when I went in, they were like, "Oh, if you just didn't drink so much, you wouldn't have these issues. You're always coming in hungover. Like, what kind of good employee does that?" And I've told them before, I'm sick. I have stomach problems. Sometimes my stomach hurts, and it just impacts me. It makes me fatigued. It makes me, slower some days. And she's just like, "Oh, you always have these excuses. You just need to stop drinking." I'm just like, "But I've even explicitly told them I don't drink. I don't do any of that." And they just keep pinpointing on that, and I really don't understand it.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like a very fair assessment of you or your capabilities. Sounds like it's coming purely from a place of judgment, and not actual critique. Just kind of based on what they look like and what they think that means. That must be very overwhelming to have to deal with all the time.
Yep. And I mean, even before like work and job, I mean, never that wasn't, "Oh, you're a drug addict," but just growing up in high school and middle school, I always felt like a square a square peg in a round hole. No matter what I did, students like other classmates would always joke on me, make fun of me, bully me. It got to a point where I was just a class clown just because I've always wanted attention, just because I just felt like I was always isolated. I never had friends growing up, never had, you know, did things. I just went home, did what I had to schoolwork, hung out by myself, got back up, went to school, got bullied, made fun of, came back home. So I kind of just embraced it. And if you laugh at yourself, then when others laugh at you, it's not so bad. And that's just kind of how it was for me. And then being obviously when you transition from school to adulthood, work and everything, you really can't be the class clown anymore. Which is why I went from, being over and over the top and just being a clown to just being withdrawn and just kind of accepting the fact that like people just kind of never gravitated towards me.
So it sounds like you used to use humor as a sort of coping mechanism, a way to connect with others, but also to kind of accept yourself.
Yeah, basically. I mean, I didn't really know how else to deal with it. And I would tell my parents, I've talked to my parents when they were around. I mostly lived with my grandmother, and she was kind of out, she was too old to really talk about with certain things because she just didn't understand. Um, and I tried to talk to my parents about it too, but they didn't really understand. They I don't know. They just thought it was me. They told me that I had to try harder, or that I wasn't doing enough, or that I was just being, weird and I needed to act more normal. And I don't know. I didn't know what any of that meant as a kid. I was just trying to find my place in the world. Um, I don't know. It just feels like ever since I was little, I've always been the oddball out, the one always getting picked on, even by my parents. Like I said, they just, instead of helping me, they just kind of isolated me even further.
It sounds very lonely.
Yep.
No kid deserves that.
So I don't know. I just feel like it's something's got to give, because if it keeps going on like this, I don't know how to deal with it. It's just getting me too much. It's just too much, man.
Yeah, that's a normal reaction to going through all of those things with a lot of things. It makes sense that you're feeling overwhelmed.
And then, like I said, I'm also dealing with the death of my brother too. He was, like I said, my parents weren't around much. So my brother, who's older than me by like 10 years, on my dad's side, half brother, he was more like a father figure to me than my own dad. And whenever I had prom, needed advice, he was usually the one that I felt that I could go towards. And even he noticed a shift in me from that fun-loving goofball when I was younger into the quiet, withdrawn person. And it was one of the first things he mentioned to me after we hadn't seen each other in a while. Because, I moved from Jersey to Pennsylvania because there was some family problems and we just had to get away. And when that happened, I was too far from my older brother. So, and we stayed in contact on the phone a little bit, but just not being in person, being as close as possible, you just miss out on a lot of things when it comes to another person. So once I got old enough and got a car, I was able to see him more often. And after being away for a few years, that's when he noticed a shift in me and everything. And I didn't know what to tell him. I mean, I didn't know what was wrong with myself either, but my brother was always there for me.
Sounds like he was very special. It seems like he loved you a lot. He really understood you.
Yeah, he was always proud of me, always cheered me on. He was always just genuinely happy to be there for me. And it just sucks because, like, a few years ago, he got sick. He ended up getting epilepsy, where he just gets seizures all the time. And it got to a point where he couldn't work anymore. He had to quit. And he wasn't able to get more work after that. Obviously, when you're doing, even just warehouse workers work, cashier work, anything really. A lot of people don't want people with epilepsy around because one minute they're working, and the next minute they're having a seizure on the floor. That's very dangerous for a lot of people involved. So he kind of was not able to get much work after that, and it started to derail his life. And he started to go downhill like me. And whenever he had these seizures, he would usually call me, and I'd usually talk to him until he basically regained his conscience, his consciousness back, and was able to speak and everything. I was far away, but it was my way of helping. And we ended up getting into a fight. We're both sick and grumpy and bitter people now, so we ended up arguing about something stupid. But when he did eventually pass away, it was from a seizure. And it was the first time that I didn't answer his phone call. So I've just felt bad about that since. Not only did we end our relationship with bad terms, but it came out that, I potentially wasn't there for him when he needed me. It's just, I know it's not my fault, and I couldn't really change him much, but it doesn't change the fact that I still feel a little guilty for it.
That's understandable. It sounds like you were a really great brother to him. And I think he knew how much you cared about him. But even when you were that far away, you were still always there for him. Just like he was for you.
I hope so. But yeah, I just can't stop thinking about him. I'll be at work, and then something will make me think of him, and then I'll just start crying, and then that doesn't help my situation at work with them getting on my case about everything.
Well, it wasn't that long ago. You're still processing it. But memories can be a good thing too. I'm sure you have lots of good memories with them.
Yeah, he was always taking me to things. He took me to baseball games. We were both Philly fans. I know one time he took me to the Renaissance Fair. He took me to, I think he took me to the Poconos once to see the racetrack. If he didn't, he always wanted me to go with him. I know when he had his job, he was always buying me things. He was always, I don't know, he was just always there for me.
Yeah, those sound like really great memories. Oh, do you have a favorite memory with him?
My favorite memory with my brother was probably when we went to a Phillies game together. Me and my dad went. My mom went a couple times. Me and my brother went a couple times. I went to a couple Philly games, but I don't know. I just kind of cursed to always see them lose. So this was the only game that we went to that we actually won, and it was incredible. It was a beautiful day out, sunny, no clouds in the sky, no wind to be heard to be heard of. Me and my brother, we went. He bought us these really cool throwback jerseys of Boa and McGraw, I believe they were, and I keep them hanging up in my room so I can always see them. Once when he passed away, that was one of the things I found amongst his valuables, his belongings, and I kept it. So, and then I remember on that day we got one of those pictures of us in the seats, like one of those half and half of us, like a selfie. It was really cute, cool, and I even to this day I still look back on that picture and just think about it all.
That sounds like a really nice day. And that's a good way to remember it by. Have the jerseys up on the wall.
Yeah.
So you said you've also been dealing with some health issues that have been kind of getting in the way of work and affecting your mood.
Yeah, I mean, I always thought it was physical. I've been in and out of hospital since I was 6. That's been the last 20 years now. I get basically crippled, debilitating pain to the point where I can't move sometimes because my stomach. I doctors can't explain it. I don't know. I that's like I said. That's why I started psychiatry. That's why I started mental field because maybe it's stress, maybe it's something else. But I just because I do live a stressful life, I have problems regulating my stress levels, and things haven't exactly been easy on me growing up. Like I mentioned, I live with my grandmother. My parents weren't always around. People bullied me in school, so I've just kind of been an anxious, stressed out mess. And that didn't really get exposed to me until college when I struggled to get out of bed to go to class. I I went from being a class clown to just fearing everybody. I'd be in class and I'd have to give answers, and I just wouldn't want to speak in front of people. Get very bad anxiety and this sense of dread. I it just I barely graduated, not really sure how, but throughout all that time, I a lot of the reasons that I struggle was because I just my stomach would just hurt too much, or I just it would get to the point where I couldn't eat sometimes, and I'd go days without eating, and then that would make me fatigued. And obviously, you really can't live your life when you're not eating. And keep in mind, I've always been a very physical person. I love physical work. My last 2 jobs have both been physical, which when I'm healthy, I don't mind. I love doing the work. And I was also an athlete in college, doing crew, rowing, rowed the boats. So when I would deal with these stomach pains or these massive fatigue, I would have to slack off at practice or whatever. And there was a couple thick times I missed. And my coach was more understanding about it than most. He really cared for me. Um, but even he only had so much patience. Like I have to give myself to this team. It's a sport, it's a team. There's only so many excuses you can give before it becomes a problem. And I ended up having to drop out junior year, and that was painful. I ended up having to say goodbye to basically a family of mine earlier than intended. But so I mean, I've been in and out of hospitals. I know, like I said, it culminated in college. When after I went abroad to Greece, I came back, and it was so bad. I was basically in and out of hospitals for 3 years straight. I know at one point I had to withdraw from my semester in college and come back the next semester because I was just in so much pain. Worse than I've ever experienced. It was one of my worst periods. I ended up losing like 30 pounds in a month. So as you can see, like I I definitely do have something wrong, but the doctors tell me everything looks normal, everything looks healthy. They tell me that that no matter what they do, CAT scans, MRIs, CTs, ultrasounds, blood work, X-rays, literally nothing comes back. Red signs, the red flags, everything seems healthy, which I know is not the truth. There's definitely something wrong with me because I don't enjoy living like this. I don't want to live like this. I'm not doing this for attention like some of the doctors tell me I have. I know when I was younger, they pulled my parents aside and they told my parents that they thought I was faking it for attention, even. So I have something wrong. It's affecting my life, but nobody seems to care. This just repeating issue of just everyone giving me too much shit for no reason. It's just everywhere in my life.
It's frustrating to not know what's wrong. And it's hard when other people can't see what you're feeling and what you're going through. It's frustrating to not feel seen by other people and to have to go through all of that. But I mean, it's impressive that you graduated and that you're continuing to work even while going through this. That's impressive in of itself. Um, what do you do for self care?
Um, like, what do you mean self care? Like activities or like exercises or
It can be, I mean, it can be anything. Things that you do for yourself that
uh,
make you feel better, that help you relax, de stress.
I think one of my biggest things that I've done, and I don't know, I would go so far as to say that it's basically saving my life, but music, I think, I think music has helped me to get through a lot of this tumultuous part of my life. Whenever I'm feeling sad or depressed or anxious, I'll tend to put on music and just drown myself in the words.
Yeah, music is a great coping skill. What kind of music do you like?
Um, I listen to a lot of. Uh, I like to listen to a lot of people that have gone through my struggles. Um, I don't know if you ever heard, but Jelly Roll, he's dealt with a lot of problems growing up, and a lot of his music is just about how he keeps going on and living his life despite all these problems that seem to plague him. He seems to just another one, NF Time. He seems to have dealt with a lot of problems, and despite it all, he keeps pushing forward. Um,
It's great that you've found something that you relate to and that motivates you, encourages you.
yeah, I gotta say, it was my one friend in college. I didn't have many, but I did find a few. But I mean, I always liked music a little bit, but I was never big on it. I didn't really find the music I was looking for. But he kept telling me that he kept telling me to try music, and I eventually found I kept at it, and I kept being in college, you get a huge diverse stream of things, and I came across these two people, and that's when I finally realized just how just how important music can be to your life, and like just how influential it can be on people.
Yeah, music's very, very powerful. And I'm glad that you had a friend that was close enough to you to recommend that. Well, we're nearing the end of the session. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Uh, I just I think I've been carrying this stuff in a little too long.
Yeah.
A lot of it just kind of came out, and as you can see, a lot of this shit is still affecting me. It's still raw. I mean, it's not something that I've gotten out of my system to anyone. I never talked to anyone about my brother. Not to my parents. That's just not something I could talk to them about. I didn't really have any friends to open up to about him. So I've just been carrying this around for a few months.
Well, this is a really great first step, and I'm really happy that you decided to open up about this to me. And we'll continue next week, and keep engaging in those coping mechanisms, music. Maybe explore some other routes for self-care. You mentioned exercise you enjoy. That could be something. And then we'll pick up next week.
Alright, that works for me.
Alright. Well, have a good weekend.
Yep, you too. Enjoy the weather.
Oh, yeah. The shitty fucking weather.